Welcome into episode 113. The Cubs have clinched. I am live for the first time. What a day to do it. What a day to be alive. The Cubs are going to the postseason. Are you ready? I'm ready. I got Cody Delmendo with me. I know he's ready. Here we go. Cody, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm good, Mike. I don't remember the first time I was here, but what a day it is to come on here. I'll say that much. There's no better day for me to come on here. Unless, the next time I'm on, they're clinching, the wild card or the NLDS or the NLCS or something like that, but yeah, they just clinched within the last 30 minutes. And we had this planned for the last couple of days. So, yeah, it's exciting time. First time in my eyes, first time since 2018. I know officially 2020, but I don't think any fan cares about 2020. So it's a great day to be a Cubs fan.
And it cannot end any worse than 2018 did because they'll get at least 2 wild card games.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So let's back this up. So when was the first time you saw the Cubs in the postseason? I know you're younger than I am, but what was your first clinch moment?
I'm 34, so I didn't start watching until, I didn't start really following until 2003, but I got into baseball in 1998, so they made the playoffs in 98, but to be honest with you, I didn't really care about wins or losses when I was 98. I was like 7 years old. I didn't care about wins or losses. I cared about if Sammy Sosa was going to hit one onto the streets or not. But 2003 is normally what I tell people.
Yeah. So for me, I was 10 in 1984, and just 1984 and 1989 were the first 2 Cubs clinch moments for me, both in Pittsburgh. So it's kind of perfect that today was in Pittsburgh. It seems like the Cubs just do this to Pittsburgh a lot. It was a little harder to do back then because they used to be better, but I'll take it.
So it's kind of poetic how the Cubs clinched in Pittsburgh. Ian Happ catches the last out.
Yes.
It's 10 years. It's been 10 years since they won the wild card game in Pittsburgh. And I just feel like it's, baseball is weird like that,
It really is. Did you catch any of the post game?
A little bit. As I missed watching guys celebrate in the clubhouse, man. Like a rare smile from Craig Counsell. That was fun.
Yes.
And then I really enjoyed listening to Taylor McGregor talk to Ian Happ on the field, right after the game. Like he got emotional. And I think for guys like Ian Happ and Nico Hoerner, especially, Hoerner came up in 2019. They collapsed in September of that year. So, and 2020, there were no fans. It was just so weird. It's why it's hard for me to care about 2020, but to be able to do this in a full 162 game season, I think for those 2 guys, I was happy for those guys the most. And like I said, it's just nice to see new postseason clips that could potentially be put on my Twitter timeline in a year or 2 or 3 from now. Every off season, every anniversary of some moment over the last 10 years, it's been everything related to 2015, 2016, even 2017. And that's it. Cause they haven't done any postseason play really since those years. In 2018, that they made the playoffs, but it just ended so sourly. So it'd just be nice. I don't think that this day will be brought up in an anniversary, unless there's some crazy interview or whatever that gets out there that I haven't seen. But, it's just nice to see my team or our team, people watching. It's nice to see our team in the clubhouse celebrating, because for the last handful of years, I'm watching Anthony Rizzo with the Yankees celebrating, or I'm watching Kyle Schwarber with the Phillies celebrating in the clubhouse. And I'm thinking about what if, and I missed this. And it's just, I know it's just clinching the playoffs or postseason berth. And it's not as big a deal, but I'm treating it today as if like it's a big deal because you just don't know, man. You don't know
No.
like what's gonna happen, and I just feel like as fans, we should appreciate these types of moments as much as the players are, because it's not like the NFL where you play 17 games or
Right.
NBA where you play 80. They play 162, and it starts in late March. For us this year, it started in mid-March.
It
And
did.
like the march to get to this point, like it's such a it truly becomes part of your everyday life in the summer because there's nothing else going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like when you actually get to this point, like it's so gratifying. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And you mentioned Hap earlier. I want to bring him up because I haven't seen the clip. I don't think Marquis had it on air, but apparently he addressed the team right before they started celebrating. And he's been in that role. I'm going to do some more looks at Ian Happ because I think he gets probably a lot of unfair criticism. You and I have talked about that in the past. I mean, but he is the longest tenured guy in the organization. He is the longest tenured guy really in Chicago sports. I think they said on Marquee today. And for him to have that moment is very cool. And the reason I was originally going to bring you on is you had a tweet, I think it was last week, talking about how the way this team plays, they got off to that great start, kind of felt like they were kind of fumbling the bag for a while. But then also, it wasn't even just about the Cubs. Milwaukee got hot in ways we haven't seen a team get hot in a long time that had nothing to do with the Cubs. And even if the Cubs were handling their business, they might still be behind Milwaukee just because of Milwaukee. And this team, is actually kind of special. I don't know what they're going to wind up with, but it's going to be 90 plus wins. It could be as high as like 95 wins. That's a really good baseball team. And it doesn't always feel like it. Like, what were you thinking when you put that tweet out?
It's weird. It's weird. It's not even like the last few weeks. It's felt like since, let's just call it beginning of August. Even though after today, the Cubs will now have won, even after yesterday, they'll have won 8 of their last 10 series. But like from the trade deadline to, let's just call it the Brewers series, then they were brutal to watch. They lost like 3 consecutive series. The offense was dead. Everyone thought they were imploding and that the season was over. And then Pittsburgh came to town and it was Pittsburgh and they won 2 out of 3, but it was not pretty. And then that Milwaukee series, that 5-game series, you felt like maybe they were back. But the end of it was kind of a sour taste, and then go out to Anaheim and sweep them, but then get swept I think they got swept by the Giants.
Yeah, it was the Giants. Yeah.
And then, took 2 out of 3 against the Rockies. But in the moment, it's like, why are we not sweeping one of the worst teams of all time? And it's just like these little ups, downs, like not like huge up, not some huge down, just like a consistent annoyance.
Yeah.
Or it was you're consistently annoyed or consistently content. And it got to a point, especially when Bears week 1 came around, where it's like people were just kind of checked out. People were like just ready for the postseason, or just ready to see if this team was going to do what everyone thought they're going to do, which was not do anything, or, maybe they'll surprise us. And I just think that there's still so much more to watch here, especially after watching the Bears give up 50.
I was just going to say, then we saw the Bears and now we're all back to the Cubs.
Yeah. The whole point was that like this team is the first team that's actually good, not just like for the Cubs, but like in Chicago since I guess the White Sox in 2022, 21, whatever. Yeah, 2021.
Yeah. When Kimbrel blew up their season.
Yeah, and like I just feel like there should be more excitement around this team. And people were telling me, because the trade deadline, no one's into it. And it's like, well, because they didn't trade for Mackenzie Gore, you still have Cade Horton and Matt Shaw on your roster. And Eugenio Suarez, as much as I wanted him, Matt Shaw has actually been fine. And Suarez has been terrible for the Mariners.
Yeah.
So like, I understand the sentiment behind how the trade deadline went, with like how it comes off as like the organization doesn't care about winning this or that, but like they have consistently been fine like all season. Like they played their best. It seems like they played their best ball at the beginning of the year, but like they haven't imploded. They haven't fallen apart. They've just been fine since the beginning of June, honestly. And like, and I think that's why people were checked out. But I just think the people who are checked out, you're revealing yourself as some casual fan, because it's like we need Kyle Tucker to be healthy if this team's going to do something. They need Seiya Suzuki to start hitting, or like, like I don't know. I'm happy to see Moises Ballesteros take advantage of an opportunity, but like I don't know what he's going to do in October. There's these little things about like individual player wise where it's like we need to pay attention to this, because if this guy or that guy isn't doing this, another example, Matthew Boyd, who wasn't very good today, like if these are things we need to pay attention to, because it's more than just like, oh, they played good in April and May and they played 500 the rest of the year. Like there's so much more than that, like on a positive side, Pico Armstrong had a great series. Like, is he finally back? Like, so my whole point about that entire tweet or video or whatever that I put out about fans checked out was like, there's still plenty to watch here. There's still plenty to watch here, and there's still plenty to be hopeful for if you want to be an optimist. And if you want to be a pessimist, there's still plenty to complain about.
Yes. So we have a question from the chat. We got Michael Mackey says, do you think the division is the goal, or do we coast in the postseason? And I think from my perspective, I think you hit on a couple of the key points. Like Kyle Tucker has to be healthy. Matthew Boyd looks to me like a guy he's not thrown 170 innings since 2019. I think he's just gassed. And so if maybe they skip his next start, give him a light load in his last start as a tune-up, like I think the division is all but unreachable at this point anyway. So probably you keep just enough foot on the gas to make sure you stay ahead of the Padres and host that first series. Like, what do you think? I mean, I think they got to get themselves right.
Yeah, I mean, if the Brewers lose tonight, they'll be 4 games back.
Yeah, 4 out.
They need
doable, but like they need help.
They need Milwaukee to lose some games. Unfortunately, Milwaukee's playing the Angels. So like, Milwaukee's going to keep playing hard until they officially clinch the division. So they got 10 games left. It's unlikely, but I've seen crazier things, man. I've seen crazier things. So I'm not saying it's out of the question, but yeah, they need to solidify making sure they get out that home playoff series, which is just the first wild card spot. And I don't know. I haven't looked at the NL West standings, but I can't believe, like, I've been thinking this all summer, but like, I'd honestly rather play the Dodgers than I would the Padres. But
it's tight. It's going to come down to the wire. The Cubs are up 5.5 in that spot right now. Got another question from the chat. Does anyone have any problems with them choosing to celebrate today? I have no problem with it, but I'm seeing a lot of grumpiness about it on Twitter right now. For me, we'll get your take in a second. I think you hit on in your opener, but baseball is supposed to be fun. This team hasn't done anything in a while. And if that means I watch Ian Happ and Nico Horner celebrate and watch the kids have some fun, I've got no beef with it. Go celebrate. Just celebrate today. Give it 24 hours, 48 hours, and then get back to serious business, because this team's got to win 13 in October.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I will tell people to hammer the Reds tomorrow, because this team's going to be a little hungover. But
yes,
I mean, I already explained it. I'm not going to go into it again. Like, like you play 162 games, like you clinch playoff berth. Like it should be a form of gratification. Now, I will, like, they didn't celebrate on the field, but they set up like all the champagne and everything in the clubhouse. Like, I
think it's fair.
But I feel like on the field, like, they didn't act like it was some big thing. Listen, as a human, if I come into a room and you're putting out a bunch of alcohol for me to spray around and drink, I'm going to spray it around and drink it.
Yes.
If that is the goal, if that is what you're asking me to do, I will do it. So yeah, I thought it was fun. And I actually, to some of those people who are annoyed about it, if they would have like celebrated like some big thing, on the field, like, I probably would have. Yeah, I wouldn't.
It might have been grumpy old man to that.
I probably would have just raised an eyebrow, like, okay, guys, like, we have higher expectations here, but I understand it's been a while. I think I think the fact that they were pretty just chill about it on field, but the moment they got in the clubhouse, yeah, we're all acting like a bunch of children. Like, that's fine, man.
Even that was kind of subdued. It is not like drunk Lester out there with the World Series celebration. Cody, we got a shout out for you. Mike Prosnowski says, in that case, you better not turn down a fireball shot if you see him in the bleachers next week.
I have a ticket to that Friday game against the Cardinals, the last home series of the year. So if I see you out there, Mike, I guess I cannot say no to that fireball, even though I hate fireball. I absolutely hate it.
Oh, that's funny. So what's your take on Boyd? What do you kind of agree that he kind of just needs rest at this point? I mean, it did look like he battled today. He just didn't have his best stuff or location.
Well, it's like, this is the thing, is like today was frustrating because he got the first two guys out in the first inning, and then it was a walk, then a hit, then a 3-run homer.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
it's like 6 guys got on base in a row.
Yeah. And that's the thing. He kept them in the game. He gave up, and I feel like this is what he's done. Like, early on, the last handful of starts, he struggles, but then manages to go at least 5 innings. I don't think he went 5 innings today, but
no, he went 3. No, maybe 4.
Yeah. I would say that rest is what he needs, but let's just be honest about him, Mike. Like, no one should be surprised that he looks like this right now, considering like he hasn't pitched as many innings in how many years?
6.
Yeah, like, this is, if you want to be negative or pessimistic about the trade deadline, like, not getting another starter. I mean, you got Soroka, but maybe Soroka can make a start, or you can throw Savali out there and make a start for you in place of him. I don't really know what to think. If you're in a wild card series tied 1-1 going to a winner take all game 3, like, am I going to feel good with Matt Boyd out there? Well, on one hand, he pitched great in the postseason last year for the Guardians.
Yeah. He was
on
fresh,
the other
though.
hand, like, he just hasn't been that good in the second half. And I'm not saying that the Cubs should have gone out and got the ace, because it turns out they have their own ace in Cade Horton. But
yes,
this comes back to the point that I made after the trade deadline of not getting like a Merrill Kelly or or even like a Adrian Hauser. Like, I don't want to revisit like what the speculated deals were for some of these guys, but like, that's something that would have been good. Now, it would have then been on the Cubs to skip a start or two with Matt Boyd.
Yep.
And who knows if they would have or not. But now that you've actually clinched a postseason and you're pretty solidified in that first wildcard spot, like, I wouldn't be upset if they sat him or like skipped a start, moving forward. Hell, right. I wouldn't be upset if he didn't pitch at all the next 10 days. I really wouldn't. Now, it'd be a little, I won't lie, it'd be a little nerve-wracking going into a pivotal game 3 potentially in the wild card, and him going out there to pitch for the first time in more than 10 days. So there's like this part of me that's like, you want to rest him, but you also like don't want him to get rusty, So yeah, I mean, I don't have a better option. Who's going to pitch game 3 if you get to that point?
Tyone? Would you go Tyone?
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't hate Tyone.
I guess if it's at Wrigley Field, yeah, because he pitches well at Wrigley. Like, maybe Tyone would be the answer. I just can't believe I'm actually thinking that would be a good idea. Nothing against Tyone. I've always appreciated Tyone, and I know what he is. And let's just be honest about it, though. Like, he's definitely, the results at Wrigley have benefited him largely because of weather factors. It's very similar to Shota Imanaga too. So I don't know, man. It's maybe going with Tyone in game 3 wouldn't be the worst decision, I guess.
Or maybe have them both ready. Let one go if he doesn't have it, go the other way. Flip the batting order. But so game 1 starter division. Let's assume wild card series. For me, I'm going Cade Horton. I know we can talk about splitting up the lefties or not giving the rookie the pressure on game one.
Yeah.
But I got to give it to my hot hand and just go get game one.
Yeah. Well, no, not putting pressure on Cade Horton. Well, if you say you lose game one with Shota,
Yeah.
you don't
all
want
the
to put
pressure is
Cade
on
Horton
Cade Horton.
in a game two, like
Elimination
game. So I agree. I was for a long time. I was Shota, Horton, and Boyd in this rotation for the wild card series, but I've definitely shifted to Cade being the starter, and I'll be very interested to see like how many pitches they'll let him throw and all of those things. But yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, when he's on, he kind of takes that how far do we let him go kind of out of the manager's hand, because he's been so efficient.
Yeah,
he can get to the seventh inning on 80 pitches.
Yeah, well, he throws strikes, right? And you just theoretically speaking, with the wind at Wrigley, if the wind's blowing in, that's a great thing for him too, even though he gets more swing and miss than any of the rest of them outside of Shota. But he's not giving up a ton of hard contact either. So, it's when you're seeing his face next to Jake Arrieta numbers compared to 2015, like that's how insane he's been. And
yes,
I think you just got to ride that hot hand and see what happens. And,
and if you lose, at least you go down with your best gun first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Depending on,
it was so cool watching him battle Skeens yesterday.
Yeah, and it's crazy that they both gave up a run in the first inning. Like no one thought that was going to happen. It'll be interesting, like depending on who they play. Like, if he gets the Dodge or gets the Padres, like that lineup is pretty good, and
it is.
It'll be a really, really interesting test, and
that's a lineup where
I don't know what kind of expectation to put on it because he's a rookie, and you just don't know, but. Like you said, he's the hot hand. You got to ride it.
And that's a spot where they have a good offense. The starting pitching for San Diego is a little iffy, but if San Diego takes a lead to the 6th or 7th inning, it might be over.
Yeah. With their bullpen, yeah.
And this talk about being aggressive at the trade deadline,
right? Well, and that's why I said earlier that I honestly would rather face the Dodgers. But I mean, since we're talking about it, I can look it up real quick, but the Dodgers, they just have like the Cubs played well against them this year. And the fact that,
Dodgers have a 2-game lead over San Diego.
They have a 2-game lead. Yeah, I see that. Okay. So, 10 games, we'll see what happens. That bullpen for San Diego scares me. And
the bullpen for LA does not scare me, even though it's full of all the guys I wanted the Cubs to sign.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works out, right? So,
right.
Yeah.
So let's talk Kyle Tucker for a minute. So he was amazing to start the season, and he set this offense on fire. And then he gets hurt, plays well hurt for a while, and then goes well into the tank for 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. Gets a break, comes back, looks like he was fully back. And now he's out again. Like they've got to get him back in this lineup.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why I roll a lot at people who are like kind of just done with him, because I'm like, this team isn't going anywhere without him.
Right.
Like Moises Ballesteros can hit he's got two career homers. He can hit 5 more homers in the next 10 games. I'm telling you, I'm still not going to feel as good about the team if Kyle Tucker's not there, man. Like it is what it is. Like I hope, and to put that with what I just said, like if they somehow go in the postseason without Kyle Tucker and they have success, like I'll give the team all the credit in the world, but I will also just chalk it up to baseballing, because it just doesn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense to me. So yeah, whatever outcome plays out, we'll see what happens. But I mean, I tweeted today that, if Tucker doesn't play any regular season game the rest of the year, so if he doesn't play any of the next 10 games and doesn't have a good postseason with the Cubs, like this guy could be looking at the Cody Bellinger deal, not the one that the Cubs originally gave him, but the one that he's currently playing on, which what is like a 3-year, $90 million deal with an opt out after the first year. Like maybe that's a little overreactionary, but he had a incredible first half, started the All-Star game for the National League, and then hasn't been very good in the second half outside of like what, 5 to 7 games, a series in Anaheim, and then he hit a 3-run homer against the Braves and then hurt the calf, and he's been out since.
Well, in addition to being bad in the second half, he missed so much of last season with injury.
Yeah,
he'd probably start raising some of those injury concerns too.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, and a lot of fans are mad about the fact that he wanted to play through the fractured hand or whatever. And like, it's so funny to me when people say that, because back in April, May, and June, or before the injury, so let's just call it April and May, there were multiple instances in the field where people thought he was making a business decision and showing that he only cared about getting paid this offseason and this and that. You flip it to the fact that he played through an injury because for whatever reason, we can chalk it up to, maybe his agent told him to, because it's going to look better for him like in the contract down the road because he played more games than last year. Or you can chalk it up like I do and think, well, the guy cared. Guy wanted to be there. Guy wanted to help the team win. Unfortunately, he didn't help the team win a lot. And I just think that there are two sides to that entire situation. I still think the Cubs needed to put their foot down at some point and sit him or something. There's got to be something in there that they could have done. And I think the only reason he didn't hit the injured list was because they want to continue to have a good relationship with him, because they do want to re-sign him. So,
we've seen him at his best. Like that. Right. That's a guy you want in your lineup.
Right. It all comes down to the fact that the history of the Cubs and their medical staff and players' injuries is terrible. Yes. So like, so terrible. Every fan who jumps to the negative when it comes to so-and-so injury, like, I don't blame them. And I in general agree with most fans who criticize the Cubs when it comes to injuries. I mean, even the calf injury, they didn't put him on the injured list until like almost a week after. And it was like, you're playing.
Yeah, I was critical when they didn't do it on day 4, when they could backdate it back to the original injury.
Right.
And I'm fine. Take those 3 days. That's fine.
Yeah, they're playing a man down for almost a week, and it's just like you're not helping yourself here, like, right? And it's annoying too whenever you had an Owen Casey and Moises Ballesteros and all these prospects that you didn't trade at the trade deadline. It's like. Like, play some, because you can afford to give your superstar player a rest. So,
and to go from that, where it was like day 5, I think Council was saying, well, he could have played today. He's available off the bench. To then putting him on the IL, and now he's going to see his own personal physical therapist in Florida or Atlanta or wherever.
Florida.
Like, what's the disconnect there? I get. And maybe this is a case where if the Cubs were fighting tooth and nail for that last wild card spot, just trying to get in, maybe they're not giving him this time. Maybe he's just playing through it.
Yeah.
But you're right. It feeds into all the other discussions. I remember last year, Dansby with the knee and Nico with the hand. And specifically, I remember Nico went on the IL or did not go on the IL and missed 9 games.
Yep.
You couldn't have IL'd him, filled that spot, and just had him miss 1 more.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, like I in these instances too, you also have to look at the player, and you have to. There's blame on both sides of it.
Yeah,
it just, to me, it's always going to come down to the organization. Like, you got to put your foot down, man. You got to put your foot down, and because you're at the end of the day, so and so is hurting the team by not going on the injured list. You know what I mean? And so it's always going to be a subjective view from fans, because we just don't know exactly what's going on in the clubhouse, the conversations they're having. And whatever Craig Counsell tells the Chicago media, like, he's not going to give them the full truth.
No, of
He's
course not.
just not. So
No.
I think you have to look at it glass half full most of the time. But in Tucker's situation, he's kind of hurt his relationship with fans because it just a lot of fans think that he was selfish, and I think those fans need to calm down a little bit, because
chill.
Again, like, those same fans thought he wasn't trying on defense in certain games this year because of what they called a business decision. You know what I mean? Like, again, to me, it showed that he cared about the team and he cared about winning and he wanted to try and help the team win. But sometimes people get in their own way, and
they do.
And that I hope that this is a learning situation for Kyle Tucker down the road. And maybe it was, and that's why he hasn't played with the calf injury.
Mm-hmm. Well, so the last week or so when they've played the Braves, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. So when the Cubs play the Braves, I'm blacked out. I can't get Marquee, can't watch them on the MLB app. I got to watch the Braves on cable. So I had the Braves announcers, and it's been interesting because the Braves are often pointed to as such a great organization, which they are. And they had that great run locking up all those players. But their announcers were talking about the fact that the last 2 seasons for them have been completely blown up by injuries. And those guys play every single day, and they were famous for it. Dansby did it. Albies does it. Acuna does it when his knee's not blown up.
Right.
And you kind of have to wonder something. I'm a big believer in rest throughout the season. I liked the way Joe Madden used to run it. We'd all complain about the getaway day lineup, but he made sure guys got off their feet every week, 10 days ish, which kept the bench fresh, kept guys in theory a little healthier. And I think some of what we've seen with the Braves, what we see with the Dodgers, some of those teams, they don't use their depth and it winds up hurting. And I think we've seen that with the Cubs the last couple of years.
Yeah. Well, I think Craig has done well this year. If we're talking about just this year, I think he has done well with getting guys off their feet, especially here in the second half of the year, because the amount of times I find myself complaining about throwing a game away, I just, it's
Willie Castro again.
Right. Like, how many games when this offense was dead, when you saw Justin Turner and Carson Kelly, when he was slumping, like hitting 4-5 in the lineup,
Yep.
I do think that in big picture, Craig's trying to get guys rest. He's trying to get certain guys off their feet. And when you zoom in on it, it's like we're throwing away a potential sweep. We're throwing a game away because we won the series and we're on to wherever, But I think in the second half especially, Craig has done a great job of getting guys rest, because I find myself sitting here complaining about us throwing games away, and it's largely just because he's getting guys rest. So it'll be interesting to see how he manages it this last 10 games as they strive to clinch that first wild card spot, and then whatever's left of the division race, if there is one at this point.
Yeah, I think to your point, I think tomorrow, like you said, you're going to hammer the Reds, but I would assume tomorrow we're going to see Casey and Alcantara. We're going to see Moises all in the lineup because the starters are going to sit down. I think you can't fully punt like the next 5 days, but I think we're going to start to see probably everybody get a good day or two off. I think there's going to come a point in time in about 4 days, probably, where both the number 1 wild card and the division probably are locked up unless Milwaukee goes into a spin. And hopefully at that point they do take advantage and run some of those getaway lineups out so that these guys can be fresh. Then the last probably 2 or 3 games started kind of like the end of spring training, right? The starters come back and play, maybe not the whole game, but play a good half to 3/4, get 2-3 at bats, just so they're got that timing down before the playoffs. And then it's go time. Then no more getaway day lineups.
It was good to see Seiya back in the lineup today.
Yeah.
He was removed later in the game. I don't think it was because of injury. I think it was just defensive replacement. And
he's been sick too. So I wonder if he was kind of drained a little bit.
I don't know what to expect out of him for the next 10 games, but man, like we need to see better than we have in the second half for him. And Like for me, like he's a guy that you need to play, and you got to make a decision, because if Moises Ballesteros is going to continue to hit and Kyle Tucker does come back, like, let's just be honest about it, Mike. Like, they're not going to play all three together.
No. Unfortunately, it means they're probably not going to play Moises, but maybe they should.
Well, they should, if he's going to continue the way he's hitting, and I think maybe, I guess you could platoon. I don't know if I want Ballesteros face on, tough lefties, and Seiya does hit lefties well. So maybe platooning it would be the best case. And they're not going to let him catch. They're not going to let him catch at this point in the year. So it's like Ballesteros is either catching or not catching. He's either DHing or not playing. Right? That's just what it is. And so that's why I need to see more from Seiya these last 10 games. And I think Craig Counsell needs to see some too, or else I do really think he might actually just platoon, because Ballesteros has been that good. He's given them great plate appearances. And the home run he hit today was
a shot.
It was fun to watch.
Yes, it was. Well, and this team, I mean, Moises Ballesteros is so much fun. PCA has been so much fun. It looks like maybe he's getting his swagger back. Like you said, he had a really good series in Pittsburgh. Hopefully he can build on that. I think with him, it's a lot of adjustment, and I think he got in his own head for a little bit. But at the same time, he's a guy that is really hard to sit down, because what we all said about him last year was, if he's a 95 WRC plus guy with his glove, he's still an above average baseball player, and he still brings you a lot of value.
He'd be like what Nico Horner is at second base, even though Nico Horner's having like his best season. You can look at Nico Horner's 2023 and look at this year, and I mean, you can make an argument for the one or the other being in the better season, but like Nico Horner is normally around a 100 WRC or a 100 WRC plus, but he plays Gold Glove defense and he doesn't strike out, right? So if you would have got that version of a player with perhaps more power than Nico, which isn't hard to do, to go with that defense and base running, then that he probably would have been what I hoped he would be this year, which was like a 4 WAR player. And he's turned out to be like a 5+ WAR player, and was the starting center fielder in the National League All-Star game, and is 1 homer away from 30. He's
first 30 since Sosa, if he gets there.
There's not one fan without that didn't have delusion, at least, that thought PCA was going to get put together the season that he's put together. Even his bad second half, you just look at the overall numbers. Not one Cubs fan thought he was going to do that this year.
No.
So
I think we all get caught up. Oh, yeah, finish.
I was just going to say that I hope that the series is the beginning of him getting back to a little bit of what he was doing in the first half, but also I think fans just need to kind of understand too that he is 23, and young players go through slumps, and sometimes they're bigger slumps than veteran players, because they're still learning about the league and this. And like, I really was I was really like, my eyebrow raised a little bit the other night whenever he was talking about how much Justin Turner helped him during this tough stretch of his. And I just think that veteran leadership that Justin Turner has brought, and mentorship, and how smart Justin Turner is as a hitter, can help. Is finally, hopefully, showing some results with PCA. So long term, I still think Pete is going to be way better than I ever thought he would be, based off what we've seen. But in the moment right now, I'm just asking him to be a productive player. In the last 3 days, he's been a productive player.
Yeah. And with him, I think there's a lot of, we all get caught up in it with the recency bias, right? Like he had an amazing first half of the season, but I don't think, I saw all the range of expectations for PCA for his career. And like, nobody really ever thought he was a 40-40 home run guy. Maybe could run that kind of peak for a month or two, which he did. And he's shown us he can do it. But like the numbers he had at the All-Star break, I don't think there was any reasonable expectation that was going to be what he was going to do all season.
Yeah.
And then you flip it now, and now he's been struggling. He's hit a little under 200 over the last couple months. Like, he's not that guy either. He's somewhere in the middle, and we'll see over time. He's 23 years old, where he's able to balance that out.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think the thing about Pete these 3 days that I've liked is he's just driving the ball. He's not hitting a lot of ground balls to the right side. He's not popping up like these lazy fly balls to second base or, short right field. Like, he hit a lot of baseballs like hard this week.
Yes.
So far. And like, that's what the Cubs need to see. That's what he needs to see for his confidence. And I just think he's such a wild card for this postseason. Like, if he comes out guns a-blazing against the Padres or Dodgers, whoever it is, at Wrigley in the wild card game or wild card series, like, that's one up for the Cubs because no other team has a player like him, man.
He could absolutely put them on his back for 10 games.
Yeah. Well, you just think in general with the offense right now, man, like, you think about what Ian Happ has done here in the second half, what Nico Horner has been all season, but specifically of late, and Michael Busch over the last, let's just call it the last week or two, those three guys, plus, Dansby has been me and you aren't sitting here complaining about Dansby striking out as much or whatever, or not hitting because he's down the 8-hole and he's producing down there. Like, he's doing everything you want an 8-hole hitter to do on top of giving you Gold Glove defense at short. Like, these guys who I feel like fans were outside of Michael Busch and Nico Horner, guys people were frustrated with in the first half of the year. Like, they've been a lot better in the second half of the year, offensively at least, and more consistent. So you think about those guys performing, and then if you get Kyle Tucker back in the lineup, and whether it's Seizuki or Moises Ballesteros or a combination of both, plus Carson Kelly, who's also been a lot better offensively of late, like maybe this offense can get back to what it really was in April and May, specifically April, in my opinion. If they can get anywhere close to that, man, they could go on a real run in October if some of this all kind of, comes together. And I just think it's a real positive to see guys like Ian Happ and Dansby Swanson and Nico Horner and Michael Busch just kind of like carry this offense the last handful of days. Like, I know it was the Pirates, I know it was the Rays, but like, they could have just completely imploded these last 6-7 days and, lose a bunch of close games. And even if they did make the playoffs, like, no one would feel better about this team than they did a week prior, the fact that they're going out and beating teams that they should beat. And honestly, they're doing it in a way of like how they should, at least, especially the last 3 days. It's encouraging. So, you got the Mets next week, got this Red series this weekend. The Reds still battling for that last wild card spot. They have a lot to play for. Like, the Cubs, they need to continue to find a way to work out the kinks to get their offense back to what it was first half of the year. We'll just call it first half of the year. So, and
this team, like, we've referenced it a few different times. Like, this team's longest losing streak is 3 games. They've done it 4 times.
Yeah.
This team's longest winning streak is 5 games. They've done it 1 time. Like, they don't go on long streaks. No. They might lose 6 of 8, win 7 of 9 kind of thing, but that makes them dangerous in the playoffs. Like, this team knows how to lose a game or 2 and fight back. Now, in the first series, you can't lose 2 and then fight back because you're done. But
right. I've said this a lot on my show. Like, when this team loses a bad game, they bounce back in a big way most of the time. If it, sometimes they'll lose a bad game and then lose the next day, but then they don't lose 3 in a row, right? So, unfortunately, you can't do that in the wild card series, but you get what I'm saying. Like, when they have a bad loss, they seemingly find a way to bounce back. Example, when they lost that first game to Milwaukee in the 5-game series, lost 7-0. people are booing the team off the field because they're getting embarrassed by the Brewers on their home field and at the time a like pivotal series.
Mm-hmm.
Then they came out, swept the doubleheader the next day, right?
Yeah.
Thank God the rain came and they didn't play the doubleheader that day. But you whatever. They swept the doubleheader the next day, and then they followed that up with another good game the next night to take, and it led to them taking 3 out of the 5 games. So when things feel like they're at rock bottom, and I used that moment of the season because I thought losing 7-0 to the Brewers and how that all played out, and maybe the fact that I was at the ballpark that day, I thought that was rock bottom of the season. Like the team wasn't playing well. They had lost 3 consecutive series. Milwaukee comes to town. Well, they had lost 3 of their last 4 series because they had just beat the Pirates, but it just wasn't a pretty series. They didn't dominate the series. So you had lost 3 of your last 4 series. Milwaukee's coming to town. They're a team that's been red hot, and you lose that first game 7-0. To see them bounce back, win 3 straight after that is kind of like with the conversation we're having right now. Like that's kind of my point I'm trying to make is they do bounce back in a big way after bad losses. So,
and to that point, those big spots, the Cubs, I think, have played some of their best baseball against good baseball teams. I mean, the Cubs won the season series with Milwaukee, despite everything Milwaukee did this year. They won the season series with the Dodgers. They split with the Padres. They won the season series with Arizona. You look at the Phillies, they didn't do as well against the Phillies, lost 4 of 6. But for the most part, when they needed to win against pretty decent teams, they beat the Yankees. They did struggle against the Tigers and the Jays, but they held their own against most of the West. And the AL doesn't even matter because if the Cubs face an AL team in a postseason series, I'm just going to be thrilled we're there. But yeah, to your point earlier, I like the Cubs' chances against the Dodgers. I don't hate their chances against San Diego. Just get leads early.
Yeah. And also they just played better against the Dodgers this year than they did the Padres. They split the season series with them 3-3. That Padres team, I don't know. Maybe it's because I haven't forgot about what happened in October for them last year against the Dodgers.
They did lose Bogarts. That hurts.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know.
There's a lot of talent still in that lineup.
Yeah, and Fernando Tatis Jr., he just kind of lives for October. It seems like
he does.
He's had a lot of big moments in October. But we'll see where everything lays. But I'm just excited that we get playoff baseball at Wrigley Field.
Yes, playoff baseball at Wrigley Field is electric, and I cannot wait for it.
Yeah.
So before we wrap this up, can't believe I would almost get through this episode and not mention Anthony Rizzo. What did it mean to you to see him come back in the fold last week?
It was everything, man. You said you were born in 80 or
I was born in 74, but 84 I was 10 when they first
Yeah. You're all right. So like Ryan Sandberg was my guy. Yep. It was your guy, right? Like Anthony Rizzo was my 23. Guy. Like all I really remember or have related to Ryan Sandberg is just, what like stories, and just I feel like he represented the team so well as an ambassador and Hall of Famer.
That's like me with Banks and Santo. I never got to see him play. Just
right.
Stories and legend. Yeah.
Right. Just the legend of them. I just feel like Anthony Rizzo is my Ryan Sandberg. And I don't think Anthony Rizzo is going to go to the Hall of Fame, even though I can make an argument considering he has a higher WAR.
There's an argument there.
He has a higher WAR than Harold Baines. There is a reason that he should go to the Hall of Fame, and that alone, to me, is why. Okay.
Yes. I'm in.
But yeah, I mean, I just, he was the face of the franchise when they won the World Series. And on top of it, like he was here for like the worst parts of the rebuild. I mean, he was part of the 100 loss team in 2012. They started getting better in 2013, 2014, and he was like the only guy that people really followed or cared about. And, once some of those young guys started coming up and he was hitting the prime of his career, like it was like you were watching something being completely rebuilt and blossoming and actually working out to go and win the World Series. And for him to catch the final out was symbolic, and all these things. Like, I just, that's a story that, you know, not just me, but like people of my generation are going to tell their kids and whatever about forever. And so I just think that his impact on the Cubs, it just means so much more, in my opinion. And it's very biased. It means so much more in many ways than even some of the Hall of Famers. Maybe not Ernie Banks or Ryan Sandberg, but like, it's like he was the face of the franchise when they broke a 108-year curse. Well, he's not the full reason that they won, but he was a massive part. And his you know, he was a Gold Glove defender. He was a Silver Slugger. I mean, in 2016, he finished top 5 in MVP voting, I believe. Right, like he had just as much of an impact on that team as any other big name, whether it's Chris Bryant or Jake Arrieta, John Lester, right? Like Javi Baez. He is the one that people will talk about the most forever. And so to see him come back, be in the bleachers, and like truly take in the fan experience, almost catch Moises Ballesteros' first career homer. And, you know, do the cup snake, and oh my God, it is just that for a loss. That game is going to be a lot like how I talk about Kosuke Fukudomi's first career game as a Cub. On opening day. Like, the Cubs lost that game, but man, his 6 RBIs in the game tying homer in the 9th inning was awesome. This is last Saturday will be a day that I forever will talk about, and I'm just going to have to push aside that the Cubs lost that game, because if they would have won the game, I mean, it would have just been perfect if they won the game, because everything played out, whether it's Michael Busch hitting a homer, who plays first base. At one point it was tied 4-4 and Anthony Rizzo wore 44, right? Like, all these little things the baseball gods gave us, right? Ballesteros hitting the ball to him in the, what are the odds of that happening? Right?
That's incredible. I mean,
so it just, if they would have won the game, it would have been perfect, but it still was like a really, like, there's no better way they could have done it. And I'm excited to see what he does as ambassador. I hope that he really does dive into the whole media thing. I saw Bruce Levine kind of report that after the game, and whether it's with Marquee or whatever, like, it's just good to see him back in the organization and like back in the public eye. Cause he just, for the last, let's just call it 9-10 months, he'd kind of just been being a dad and hanging out in Florida, I guess, you know, like, it's good.
Now, let's be honest, that dude's not a Yankee. Right. And so for me, even as an older fan, obviously Rhino's my guy, but, you know, I remember I would put Rizzo right up there as far as favorites. Like, my Cubs favorites over my whole lifetime, obviously Rhino, but Kerry Wood is up there, and D. Lee and Ramos Ramirez, and Rizzo's right up there with all of those guys. So I think he's the kind of guy that he's got that infection. Like, I tweeted something Saturday that just watching that game, I can't look at Anthony Rizzo and not smile. He just makes you happy and love baseball. And I think he brings that to every generation. So I think it's cool that he's your Sandberg, and I think he finds a way to connect to pretty much everybody.
Right.
But with that, thanks for coming on, and plug your show. I love your new show.
If you're watching, check out Wrigleyville Forever. It's a new podcast I do with another co-host of mine, Blake Cowell, who kind of does work with Cubs Insider as well. We just do our show a couple of days a week, normally after like series recaps. We're actually going to do our show live in 35 minutes. So if you want to listen, if you want to continue to listen to me talk about the Cubs, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just my name. If you just give my name a search, I think the handle for my YouTube channel is just Cody_Cubs. You go subscribe. If you search Wrigleyville Forever on any podcast platform, you'll find it. Or if you go follow me on Twitter at Cody_Cubs, I have a link tree in my bio that has all the platforms that you can find me on. So, the show's it's off to a good start. It's only a couple of months old, but it's it's a going. So I hope that it continues to grow here as the Cubs get ready to play postseason baseball.
That's great. With that, thanks, Cody, for coming on. I close every show with every day is a good day to watch or talk about Cubs baseball, and it doesn't get much better than clinching the playoff berth. So we get to enjoy this one and party it up, enjoy your show, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks again, Mike.